Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. And today, I want to ask you the question, at what point do you know? At what point do you know? Now, that can mean a number of things, right? At what point do you know what, Drew? What are you talking about? Do you know that somebody's there for you? Somebody's going to hold you down? Somebody's going to be there for you? Or at what point do you know when to take the cake out of the oven so it doesn't get overdone? It's pretty simple. Put a timer always. Get a toothpick in the center. And if it comes out clean, it's good. Just a little tip. No, I'm not doing cooking. Don't ask. I do like to cook. I'm not a good baker, but I do know that. It's on the box. But seriously, at what point do you know that the person that you've met checks off some of the boxes that make for, I guess, a long-lasting relationship or build or gives you that feeling of the next level? Like, at what point do you know that? Does it happen on the first interaction? Does it happen after months of hanging out with somebody and getting to know them? Or do you have to see them enough in a certain way to kind of get a gist of where they're at and you start to get that feeling? I don't know. I always wondered that, because a lot of times in my life, I might have met somebody, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't really 100% sure. I mean, people do grow on you over time, right? They grow on you. They become something in your life. But have you ever had like that explosive feeling? Like, wow, this person just has something. I don't know what it is, but I'm like really addicted to it. Really. I'm like really, really addicted to the way they make me feel. Now, don't get this misconstrued. It's not an obsession. Some people get, like there are some people that go a little overboard, and maybe everybody's different, but just talking about like something a little more, something that feels different, but something that feels good, but makes you think differently than you've ever thought. Maybe makes you question some of your thoughts on going into a relationship or the future with anybody. Maybe you're a loner. Maybe you're somebody who's very reserved and you keep a lot of the parts of you lock and key, right? And we talk about that in previous episodes of being emotionally available. But what if maybe you're just not dating? I mean, that's fine if you want to be that way and you don't want to date. That's cool. Or maybe you've met some people that maybe you're willing to unlock that door, but they just haven't had the right key. They haven't had the right thing for you. I mean, there's so many people on this planet, and I think there is somebody for everyone for the most part, depending on how you feel about where you are in your life. Some people don't want to be with anyone. Some people don't. I saw something on Nikola Tesla having really no human being on this planet was for him, but apparently he had an affinity for pigeons. And there was one particular pigeon that was different than the rest. And it was like a love story of some sort. I don't know how, I'm not really sure of the particulars on that, but I saw something on it and I was like, it was like pretty interesting. I guess that was, his pigeon was like his muse. I guess that's what drew his inspiration, kept him going. I guess the attraction, I guess, to the relationship, in a sense where I don't know if it was of a sexual nature, but in any case, apparently he loved his pigeons. I mean, I don't, like I said, I didn't know Nikolai myself, Mr. Tesla. I didn't know him, so I can't speak on that, but people come up with these stories and they dig into the past and they say that, this hearsay or that, but it's interesting, right? Now, not to get all gross and crazy, but in essence, the idea of having a person in your life, or even a job, or something that makes you feel a certain type of way and keeps you driven or keeps you grounded. Maybe it's like, I guess we replace it with things, right? Sometimes we replace love with a hobby or something, and we just bury ourselves in that and we indulge in that. Whatever's your fancy. I'm going on a tangent. I know I'm deviating. All right, back to what we were talking about. But what is it when you meet somebody that maybe just has answers that you've never thought, I guess, for questions maybe you've had, and they've had the answer. They knew the answer all along, and they're just knocking it out of the park, and you're just like, holy shit, how is this possible so fast? And now you're like, wait a minute, am I crazy? Am I the weirdo? Because I've never really gone through this in my life. I've never really felt this way. So here I am, feeling kind of helpless, almost like I can't help but feel this way. I can't help but worry it's not going to work. It's so good. It's too good. It's too fast. It's too soon, right? We say, let things grow, let things blossom, right? You don't want to suffocate it. And I get that, right? Too much of a good thing right away might sour. Or will it? Sometimes I think if the intentions on both parties, on both sides, are genuinely there, you can't really stop the natural progress of something. If it feels natural, if it feels good, I think go with it, right? But it's always that fear, right? Something good happens and the fear is, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if my feelings get, or what if my heart gets broken? What do I do? I'm scared. I don't want to feel like this, but I do want to feel like this because it's beautiful, right? Love is a very, very interesting feeling. We could feel it in different ways, in love or love of, depending on what we're talking about. But in the context of a person that you want to be intimate with and you want to build a bond with, that in love feeling, it's a start, right? The inkling of the yearning or feeling of, I want this person in my life, and I just really adore them right off the bat. And I just, I think about them all the time. I want them to be in my life. And you start thinking of the future, right? You start thinking of what can be. I know I do. I'm a planner. So I look to the future. It's like, well, this is a good sign. Let's see where the future lies. And I go into like this virtual state where I'm picturing scenarios, good things, bad things, as far as fights, all types of stuff, like a relationship. How would the relationship play out? How would this person interact with different scenarios with me, my family, my friends? Would this person feel the same way? And how would I fit into their equation in their life? How would it look 20 years down the road if we're married with kids? All these things, it pops into your head. I mean, it pops into my head, and I think about these things. I'm always asking these questions because they're things that I'm also questioning, right? I'm also thinking about. And I know there's new people every day that find each other just on a chance encounter and just happen to hit it off. I mean, there's so much dating going on. There's so much speed dating going on. We have the ability to have the internet. We have the ability to have applications of all types. We have all this beautiful technology, but it also gives us more options, right? It gives us more options to sort through possible candidates. And then we go from texting to maybe calling to maybe FaceTiming to physically meeting, and then we go from there. It's almost a buffer that we have now. But it's crazy. But that I think that some of the best situations or relationships that I've found were not of an application based or anything. It just happened to be a chance encounter. It was unexpected. It was like, you can't really look for love. You can't really look for like the person that you want. You don't necessarily, you want to be, I guess, your eyes have got to be open to wanting to be with somebody, but you don't necessarily want to sit there every person you're like, oh, this should be the one. This should be the one. No, sometimes you gotta like let it rock for a little bit. You gotta let it kind of just coast, because believe it or not, there's interactions in life that you never expected to happen, and that the person, just the right place at the right time, you end up just hitting it off and clicking, and you guys are on the same page. Now it's a rare thing, and that's the beauty of, all right, I guess that true love or love at first sight, maybe, with in general, because I think you have to speak to somebody to really know them. Love at first sight is just, yeah, you might love the way they look, but that doesn't mean they're going to be a nice person to you. But I think that if you really want something in this world, it'll come to you as long as you're being a good steward of what you're given in life. You'll come across it. But some people rush the process, I think. Some people rush the process because they think that, it's never going to happen for me and time is ticking. So I need to I have to go through as many people as I can find until I get somebody who's remotely close. But even if you did that, it doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. You could spend your life with somebody that might be subpar, or you might grow to love them, I guess. But it'll never be or feel as good as just meeting somebody and having that spark with them, that explosion. There's nothing like it. There really isn't. It's just different. It really is just a different thing. And sometimes, maybe you've had it in the past. I've had it in the past. But it kind of went like dull. Like I forgot it even existed. And I became a skeptic myself. But then sometimes it pops back up. If you're lucky, you get that chance for it to pop back up. Sometimes you don't act on it. Sometimes you're like, yo, this is great, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm looking for somebody right now, or I don't know if I'm looking for for this right now. So you might just disregard it. But if you entertain it and you are open to it and all these other things align, it's amazing. It's a great feeling. You're like, wow, I forgot about this. This exists. This really does exist. It really does. But then it's like, now you start questioning. It's like bypassing all your alerts. Well, you're feeling this way, but what if? You're feeling this way, but I don't know, because now I feel a little vulnerable. I'm feeling this way, but like you like look for a reason out of it, not because you don't want to be in it, but you're just scared. And it's okay to be scared. I don't think you're not accepting of it. You're just weary of it because it flutters your system with all these feelings, these good feelings, these butterflies. You can't think about anybody else. You just want to talk about them all the time. You want to see them. You love the way they smell. It's like all these little things, but they're so good. It's like, it's amazing. But the question is, like, you still got to beg the question. When do you know? Like, is this the person? Is this it? I don't think you really do know. I don't think you really can know for sure, because life is so tricky. It's not to say that person isn't a good contender to be somebody to love long term, but there's a lot of things that happen in life. There really is, and that's the scary part. It's like, well, things happen, but I will say that you have to take it for the ride that it is, and you cannot judge it. Just go with it, and wherever it takes you, let it take you there. Be the best version of yourself in that interaction with that person, and hope that they're genuine to you, because you don't know for sure. I mean, you could trust you trust the people that you do your homework as far as, not being naive, but you have to, be willing to open yourself to that. As I talked about in emotional availability, being there, you have to be willing to get hurt. And that's the scary part. I think that's where it is. I think that's where we're so reserved. Well, that's why we ask that question. Is this person the one? It's like, you're going to put all your chips in. This might be the winning one. Let me stack all my chips. You sure? You're not going to know for sure. But all those feelings, all those things that you're doing, those are the best signs that you're on the right track. So what do? You go with it and you see it through. You have to. Life is full of falsehoods or false hope or whatever. But you're going to sit there and be like, what if? I don't know. What would have happened? No, you got to go through with it. And that's the part that's scary. That's the part that's scary. It's the part that most people just, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to go run away from that. So you have a lot of what ifs that you never ever went through with. And then you talk yourself like, oh, it was, it was this or was that. It just wasn't the right time or whatever. No, you're scared. You're scared. And it's okay to be scared. But at a certain point, you have to be able to get up there and be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be scared, and be willing to like say, hey, listen, if this person left out of my life, I would be sad. I would be heartbroken. And it's okay. Because you have to, the other side of fear, on the other side of fear is a lot of great things. And we prevent ourselves from not only doing that with love, but we do it with opportunities, success, something new that we're not good at, and we're afraid to fail. It's all there. It's all that fear, being vulnerable, wanting something bad enough or wanting something, but not wanting to fail at it. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work that way, especially with love, especially with dating, because it's two parties that come together and you guys have to be harmonious. And it's like, damn, there's a lot that can go wrong. Yeah. And there's a lot that can go right. But when you guys actually start to blend together and become one almost, it could be one of the most beautiful things that you will ever experience in your life. Especially that person supports you, is there for you, and really rides for you, and is there to say, hey, it's okay, and reinforces that, because we need that sometimes. It's scary to be alone. It's okay. It's good to have a partnership, a healthy partnership, a partnership that helps you both grow and become the best versions of yourselves. Well, that was my rant for today. I love you all. Thank you for listening. And please hit me up on social media at the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, at gmail.com, and at Instagram.